Good evening. It's been quite some time since I retired from show business, so I must admit to being surprised when the producers of this show asked me to tell you about myself. I've been retired from the business since my TV role on Emergency. Yes, good old Dixie McCall, RN. The original Marlboro girl's last fling. Oh, probably a lot of you don't remember, but before all of that cowboy stuff, Marlboros were a woman's cigarette, and I was their first spokesperson. You've got a lot to like from a Marlboro. Filter, flavor, pack, or box. Well, I'll never want for another cigarette in my life, but that's the story of a faded showgirl. All that's left over are the perks. But then, it's the memories that make it special. Looking back, I'd have to say the most surprising thing about my career was the singing. What I mean to say is, since I started in films, I'd always thought of myself as more of a song stylist than a singer. You know, if a vocal were needed in a movie. Somehow, I always thought chances were better for me as an actress. My parents had been in the business, too, so it seemed perfectly natural for me to follow in their footsteps. Oh, I remember my mother trying to tell me to be careful. All that glitters isn't gold, she'd say to me. But that's just not something you can tell a starstruck youngster. At the earliest point, when I had just barely graduated from Hollywood High, I was discovered in, of all places, an elevator car that I ran at Saks Fifth Avenue on Wilshire Boulevard. Up and down all day. It becomes a funny metaphor for showbiz kids. Never mind. Anyway, let's see. Crystal, lingerie, daywear, no. Daywear, lingerie, evening wear. Well, anyway, I used to have those floors memorized like the lyrics to Cry Me a River. That's my one big hit that my friend Arthur Hamilton wrote. Maybe you know it from the movie that I appeared in with Jane Mansfield. Too bad about Jane. At any rate, Arthur and I did a little act together in those early salad days. He was so talented. But Jack, my first husband, Jack Webb, couldn't stand my knowing any other men. No, I take that back. During my whole career while I was with Jack, he could stand one other man. Bobby Troop. I guess it's a good thing that Bobby knew Jack and I so well. But then, I'm getting ahead of myself. Is this what you wanted? Good evening. Well, I didn't want to break off my marriage with Jack. But for the sake of the children, we decided it would be better for his career if he didn't have to worry about being our breadwinner. So we called it quits. That way he could have more time to talk with agents and producers, and since he was getting tired of radio and interested in television, he really needed time to talk to them about his ideas for shows. Guess all that paid off when he did Dragnet. They say hindsight is 20/20. But in those early days, Jack was really frustrated by my early luck in films, not to mention my success with Crimea River. Bobby was there through it all. Turned out to be rather a messy divorce, and he helped me get back on my feet. And he was responsible for getting me my first big recording contract with Liberty Records. Thanks, son. I didn't then, and I still don't understand too much about contracts and entertainment law, but I trusted Bobby. He was a seasoned and successful musician. He toured with his own orchestra, had a hit with Route 66. I felt he could show me the ropes. I continued to do films here and there. In fact, that's when I did the Marlboro Girl commercial. But Bobby really gave my recording career a big push. It was all going pretty smoothly with Bobby. He lined up several nice engagements, all very posh clubs in major cities. The thing was, he seemed to understand me so well. He knew my limitations as a singer better than I did. After all, I was no soprano. But people did seem to enjoy the shows he put together for me. It all seemed so glamorous to me then. He even wrote special songs for my debut. So we went on the road again. Not my favorite kind of work. They say that people can get used to just about anything if they do it for long enough. Well, I guess I didn't see enough of the same old dirty hotel wallpaper and paper tapes in the toilet and matches in the ashtrays, because I never did get used to it. Bobby knew my heart wasn't in it anymore, but he seemed to thrive on adversity. We just had to keep going, keep working. Something better would turn up. Once you resign yourself, well, nothing to it. Caffeine, nicotine, and Johnny Walker Black. That was my adrenaline to do the late show in town after town. Bobby worked like a dog, but after a while, things just didn't drop in our laps anymore. Then, in 1966, Liberty passed on my option. And after 30 albums in 10 years, I was without a contract. Cy came through with one last record. Pat Bunny, Fanny, and I had become friends, so I knew that Bobby had really begged for it. But those bastards. They showed up at one of the last gigs in the tour and recorded me without preparation, live. It was the final slap in the face. Bobby and I decided that we would produce ourselves in the future. In 1968, rock and roll was all the rage. Sonny and Cher and the Beatles were the ones selling the records. going mod. Just for kicks. Bobby and I did a little pop record called Yummy, 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 which was the title cut, and included such hits as Light My Fire, Mighty Quinn the Penguin, and Stone Soul Picnic. Can you dig it? Whoa, whoa. Well, by then, it's hardly necessary to say that we revised our plan and decided to stop recording. We just weren't selling enough records, and I didn't have the energy to tour anymore. Emergency lasted 7 seasons. It was fun, but I was pooped. Honey, can I get a refill? I'd already sworn off singing, but around 1978, Bobby and I had run into Burt Reynolds a couple of times, and he asked us to do a couple of cuts for a little spy-fi movie he was doing called Sharky's Machine. I sang, "My funny Valentine, sweet comic Valentine, you make me smile with my heart." And he loved it. Never did tell him what I thought of it. So now you know everything. Thanks, Dave. It's been a real roller coaster ride. And now Bobby and I just take it easy here in Vegas. And so now my ride is over. And just in time. I mean, everything about the business is so different nowadays. I wouldn't know what to do, how to start even. I mean, nobody does Cole Porter anymore. I went to Saks at the new mall here the other day. It was a little sad, though. Remembered my old job. Now, all you have to do to ride in the elevators is push the button. No pretty girl in a smart uniform. You don't even speak to anyone. You just stand there, listening to the Muzak, maybe even one of my old songs, until the doors automatically open up and deposit you right where you wanted to be.